I'm not going where an hour or so.
You're not leaving.
Tops.
You're not leaving town.
Barb
Yeah,
lives all by
Sunday.
herself over there. Barb's like an ocean, like an island.
We have
We're going visiting.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 22nd, 2019 Village Board meeting. And could we have roll call, please?
Trustee Inkerman.
Here.
Trustee Grenier.
Here.
Trustee Murky.
Here.
Trustee Meyer.
Here.
Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, we have the consideration of the minutes of the July 8th, 2019 Village Board meeting. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, Mr. Grenier, and I need a second.
Second.
Okay, second by Ms. Marquis. Any additions, corrections, or anything else to that?
There was one typo in there referring to the tastings license as a tasing license, which
Pardon me?
was missing an important
Oh,
consonant.
yeah,
They changed
it
the
was
meeting until, so,
I hope we charge more for those.
Well, that's
So-
definitely a,
that repeated itself throughout that item, but we can, simple correction to that.
okay, that's definitely a different concept, yeah. Okay. All righty.
So,
Okay.
So do we need a motion to
As amended?
accept as amended?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
I make
okay,
that
we have
motion.
that. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, and I need a second for the correction.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Meyer, thank you very much. Any other additions, corrections, or anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this point in time, Village President, Board of Trustees, we allow 15 minutes for any individual who'd like the opportunity to address the Village Board of Trustees on any matter not listed on tonight's agenda. Do we have anybody that would like to, Mr. Russell, please come up.
Good evening. I'm George Russell, 448 Gurney Avenue, Lake Bluff. I'm here tonight with a different hat on. I'm working with the Bike Race and Block Party Committee, and in case anyone has forgotten, that is this coming Saturday, July the 27th. There are races all day long in downtown Lake Bluff, men's and women's races that start at 9:45 a.m. and go all the way through to 8:20 p.m. Anyone that's attended the block party before knows that it's a pretty nice affair, especially if the weather cooperates. We've got a couple different bands. And that fun begins at around 5 p.m., 3 hours before the races. And Marco Colbert, who is the organizer of the regional races throughout the Chicagoland area, they started 2 nights ago. And he called me this morning, and I thought I was going to have to peel him off the ceiling because they had over 120 racers this year register for the men's pro race. So he's hoping those numbers are going to continue through the week. There's a race, they race all day in different communities around Chicagoland and work their way up to Lake Bluff next Saturday. So if any of you have attended, or any of the audience members have attended the races before, that would really be exciting to see those kind of numbers racing around the tight streets of downtown Lake Bluff. One of the things, though, on the downside of having bike races in our community is we do need quite a few marshals, course marshals, that would basically act as crossing guards at the locations where crosswalks lead pedestrians across the race course. There are, especially in this day and age where everyone has their head down when they're looking at their iPhones and just have a habit of stepping right out into the street, we need volunteer marshals to work throughout the day, basically reminding people to stop and look before you cross the street. It is a very essential job, but it is really an easy one. We've broken the assignments down into 2-hour and 15-minute shifts all day. The shifts are going to run from 9:30 in the morning and then end at 8:20 at night. Anyone in the listening audience that is interested, they can Google Lake Bluff Criterium, lakebluffcriterium.com, and you'll see a volunteer tab, and you can click on that, and that'll give you information on how to contact me, and we can get you on the list. My contact list is completely burnt out, and we're still about a dozen people short. We need 45 people to safely staff the event, so we're hoping that we can get a dozen more people, hopefully new folks that haven't done it before, to sign up. And as an enticement for the course marshals this year, we're having a little drawing at the end of the day for the 45 people or less that work as course marshals, and they're going to have an opportunity to receive a $75 gift certificate to one of the 3 downtown restaurants in Lake Bluff. So, you know, those are pretty darn good odds. Now, Jeff, you're the mathematical wizard in the village. If we have 45 marshals max, and we have 3 gift certificates at $75 each to give out, what would those odds be? 1 in 15. Those are pretty darn good odds. Thank you. I couldn't have done that without, I was hoping the village engineer would be here tonight. So anyway, thank you for your cooperation, and please do consider, if you know anyone, the marshals do have to be at least 16 years of age, and if we do get one that's working that's 16 through 18, their parents need to sign a waiver form, which we will be sending out for those that sign up. But please, if you know anyone that's interested, we are desperate to find another dozen volunteers for just a 2-hour shift this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, George, very much. Thank you for volunteering to head this up, very much. It'll be an interesting day, be a good day. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. Thank you, all right. We are going to go into the village finance report for this evening. And we have the warrant report for July 16th through 31st. Approval of disbursements. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Grenier and
Mr. Meyer.
Mr. Meyer, I'm sorry. And I have trouble finding out where it comes from. Okay, and the second, please?
Second?
And second by Ms. Marquis.
Anchorman.
Wow, that was a 0, okay. This little thing isn't working right for me tonight. Sorry about that, folks. My apologies. Okay, all righty. We have expenditures of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $711,537.42 for July 16th through 31st. Do we have any comments or questions for our treasurer, our finance director, rather? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Anchorman.
Aye.
Trustee Grenier.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Next is the financial report for June of 2019. Do I have a motion to approve the receipt?
So moved.
Okay, so moved by Ms. Marquis, and a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Grenier, thank you. I'll turn over to our finance director to give the highlights of the month.
Sales tax revenue on a cash basis for fiscal year 19, which is May through April, was $3,227,315, which is $41,578, or 1.3% greater than the same reporting period prior year. Home rule sales tax revenue for fiscal year 19, May through April, of $925,009 is 4.3% less than the same reporting period in fiscal year 18, with an annual administrative fees totaling of $14,052. Building permit revenue for fiscal year 20 to date is $66,565, or $14,665 less than the last fiscal year for the same time period. May through June fiscal year 20 general fund expenditures of $1.19585 million are $425,889 less than the expenditures for the same period of fiscal year 19. This can be attributed to pending capital expenditures of $336,298, which we paid in July related to non-MFT resurfacing and the Metro Lot paving project. Current expenditures are consistent with or less than budget.
Okay. Any questions for the finance director? Drew, is tomorrow, that will finish up the parking lot? at train station?
Great question. No, they'll get, well, they will be 2/3 through, since we're
Okay.
going with the fraction theme for the day. We will get the first binder course down by tomorrow, end of the day, and then the final lift of asphalt with the pavement markings on Wednesday. And that'll conclude that project. I mean, the good news is the weather looks like it's cooperating perfectly, so. I don't know if you've been out there to look at it, but it's very much a scorched earth out there. There's,
You sent
Yeah.
me the pictures,
Yeah.
yeah. Saw that. And people do seem, I drove by a couple of times, people do seem to be taking the suggestion to park at the middle school
Yep.
up there, because that is an option for people. And it's not raining and it's not 95, so it's not too bad of a walk.
Yep.
All right, this is a voice vote, since it's just accepting. Everyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Village Administrators Report.
Mr. Russell was here as the volunteer extraordinaire earlier this evening, talking about the bike race coming up, and all our public safety officials will be here, and the main partner and sponsor for that event is Northwestern Lake Forest Hospital. And what's so unique about our bike race is that the racers love it. One, they like our course because it's very technical, and they enjoy that very much. But secondly, the support facilities for a technical course, sometimes there's accidents. Bikers fall down. And when they hit the asphalt going 30, 35 miles an hour, there's a lot of road rash. We have a remarkable relationship with Lake Forest Hospital. They come, they have essentially a staffed ER in our firehouse. So the racers love that amount of support there, so that works out very nicely for the race and for the riders. So that's one item. The second item I report is that the regularly scheduled village board meeting, the first one in August, which would be the 12th, has been canceled. So the first and next meeting of this body will be August 26th. So I just want to remind folks of that. That's all I have.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Who pays for the ER services? Just curious.
Lake Forest Hospital provides that.
They provide it.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
The head of the ER is a Lake Bluff resident and also a volunteer firefighter for us, so it
Yeah.
works out very lovely.
Fantastic.
That's right, and an ex-alum of Lake Bluff Middle School.
How do you
Yeah.
know?
I heard it through a little
Yeah.
birdie. Okay, all right. That's great, okay. Village Attorney's Report.
No report this
No
evening.
report. Village President's Report. Just to remark again, Saturday should be a very fun day. Weather should be nice. It'll be a good course. But remember, parking uptown is going to be a little challenging. So,
Yeah.
thank you. It reminds me I better park my car somewhere else. Okay, thank you. All right, and I don't really have anything else at this time. We now have the acceptance of the correspondence was delivered Village Hall Board of Trustees and the informational reports July 5th and 12th of this year. Do I have a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
And so moved by Mr. Grenier, and a second.
Second.
And second by Ms. Ankerman, thank you very much. All in favor of accepting?
Aye.
Thank you. We now have a resolution amending an outdoor dining facility plan for Temp Hill Company, which is B Market at 20 East Scranton Avenue. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
And so moved by Mr. Meyer, and second.
Second.
And second by Ms. Marquis. Pursuant to Resolution 2017-58, B Market operates outdoor dining facilities in the public right-of-way in front of their store at 20 East Scranton Avenue in Block 1 of the Central Business District. Following the placement of furniture contrary to their outdoor dining approval, B Market was directed to seek Village Board approval of their modified outdoor dining site plan to reflect the new types and location of furniture. The Village Administrator recommends the Board approve the requested amendment contingent upon the following adjustments to B Market's requested site plan that are incorporated in Exhibit B of the attached draft resolution. Removing one table and 4 chairs on the east side of the building to increase separation from Hansa Coffee. Shifting furniture on the east side of the building further south to increase separation from Hansa Coffee. removing one table and 4 chairs on the south side of the building to improve crosswalk access, relocating one table and 2 chairs on the south side of the building to improve crosswalk access, reducing a lounge set near the building's front entry from 4 seats to 2 to improve entry access. Any comments or questions for administration on this?
Does the current state of affairs over there reflect that which we have recommended?
No, actually, there's 2 more chairs that would be added at the entry into the B Market to the east and the west would be a seating area. And the 2 tables, the one that is between the, I'll call them the sofa or lounge-like seating areas, one of those 4 tops is going to be removed, and also another 4 top right when you cross by the crosswalks being removed.
Okay, so we do have that issue with the crosswalk still as it sits right now.
Yep.
When are they gonna fix it?
They've moved the tables over, and tomorrow morning, this will be the law of the land, so to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm
With-
assuming.
I just had a question. Were there any incidents that precipitated the change, or is it just that it was noticed that the access was too limited to things such as the door and the crosswalks and things like that? I mean, what precipitated the change?
I think the first thing is that the furniture that was put out earlier this year was different than what the approved plan, and we tried to work with the store owner to reach what's here today over time, and it just took a lot longer than we had hoped. But there was an incident, they had glass top tables for a period of time, and one of those was accidentally broken and left a mess, and that's what triggered,
Oh, okay. Got it.
so,
So this reflects
no more glass.
that, yeah, no more
Yeah.
glass.
Yep, and less furniture.
Great,
I
thank
think
you.
as someone who lives downtown and walks downtown quite often, and I'm sure there's quite a few other people that do, we love having the outside seating, and I think it's part of our town, but we also have to remember a sidewalk is for pedestrian access also. And so perhaps at some point, we might need to remind some of our other business owners that they need to keep within the constraints of what it is. Because once in a while, it is a little hard to navigate. Okay. All righty, this is a roll call, please.
Trustee Grenier.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Ankerman.
Aye.
Okay,
Good for business, though.
For business.
absolutely, right. As long as we don't have someone fall and sue us. That's just the only thing I just threw that out there.
Okay. There's
Okay.
that.
Yeah, there is that. Okay, so a resolution approving a community solar subscription agreement with MC Squared Energy Services LLC for village facilities and approving the waiver of competitive bids. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
And so moved by Mr. Grenier, and a second.
Second.
A second by Ms. Markey. As presented at the June 24th meeting of the Finance Committee, the attached resolution will authorize the village administrator to enter into agreement with MC Squared Energy Services LLC to purchase community solar credits from a solar array under construction in Elgin. Further details concerning community solar projects in Illinois and the contract were provided to the Finance Committee in the attached memorandum. In summary, the agreement allows the village to realize a 10% discount on electricity over a 20-year term. The village has the option to unilaterally terminate the agreement upon 30 days' notice. The final terms of the agreement and the exact volume of credits available for the village are still being negotiated. However, to secure its share of the array's limited credits available for purchase, the village will need to act prior to the village board next scheduled meeting on August 26. At this time, staff anticipates the village will be able to purchase approximately 150,000 kilowatt hours from the Elgin facility at an annual cost of $9,000, annual realized savings of $1,000, and a total contract value of $180,000 over 20 years. As the amount of the contract will exceed $20,000, board authorization is required. Additionally, as the Elgin Solar Array is currently the sole source available to the village to purchase community solar credits, Staff further requests that the board waive competitive bidding. Are there any questions for administration
Yeah, I
on
have-
this?
I have one question. This annual cost of $9,000, and it's assuming that that cost remains fixed for the 20 years?
I believe it does on a monthly basis.
Right, so the savings should increase over time, I would think, as the cost of energy increases. I mean, it looks like it could be better than the way that we're laying it out here. Am I not
Well,
right about that?
I don't, Glenn, do you want to, Glenn's a subject matter expert on this. This is one of those projects that got started in the villages.
Yeah.
It's a member of the North Shore Electrical Aggregation Consortia.
right,
This is
right.
one of those projects that was born from there. Do you want to try to answer Mr. Grenier's question?
Sure, you're exactly right, Trustee Grenier. So as energy prices fluctuate over time, so too does the value of the
Right.
subscription and the savings we capture. So most likely, you will see better results than what's shown here.
Okay, good, thank you. And I guess the other question is this the only opportunity that, for this particular consortium, or what's the thinking on this? Got to assume more of these opportunities may come up
Do you want to?
over time.
Sure. So the legislation creating this program at the state level passed maybe in the neighborhood of 18 months ago or so, roughly. This plant just happened to be partway through the process when this legislation was passed, so that's why it's coming online early. There will be other projects in the ComEd region that we expect will be online again 1 year to 18 months from now, that would have the opportunity to go back and potentially get into those as
Right.
well and capture more subscriptions under similar terms.
Yeah, so it's not a lot of money, but it's a good start.
Yeah. Ben, do you have a question?
I will also add that it's a 30-day termination. So at any point, if we find that the terms in the market are better
Elsewhere. yeah,
elsewhere, or
yeah.
other vendors get involved, or we want to renegotiate, we'll have the opportunity to do it.
I had a question. It says that the agreement would allow the village to realize a 10% discount. Is that a cap, or is that a general feeling for how this might end up? Because I understand it's contingent on future specific terms that haven't been exactly outlined, and market conditions and all these other things, I understand, but I'm just trying to understand that.
Sure. So if I understand your question correctly, the way the agreement is phrased, what we pay for the solar credits we received is tied directly to the value we receive for the credit. So we're always paying 90% of whatever credit ComEd gives us. Yeah. And so the only cap is how many kilowatt hours we get into. There's a few things that go into that, but right now it's a supply side limitation. So this is as many as we can get from this plant.
So let me just say that in other words and tell me if this is correct then. So if we spend $50,000 a year, then we should anticipate savings of $5,000?
Essentially, yes. At some point, we'll start to max out how much
That's the-
electricity the village purchases.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
But
I was
10%.
I was just trying to bump that up against the comment that said the annual realized savings of about $1,000. And I apologize, I didn't quite put all these things together earlier, but I'm trying to reconcile those two numbers in my head. The annualized realized savings of 1,000 compared to 10%, that would be.
And the answer is because the savings that are attached to this don't represent all of the village accounts, or it's our full expense to ComEd. It's only certain qualifying accounts that make sense with the tariffs to make them,
Okay.
the economics for this work. So
Okay.
it's not our full
Every
purchase of
single
energy,
thing.
right?
Okay.
So that's,
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ins and outs.
There's a lot.
And it sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the net is that this is a gain. There is a cost, but in the end, we should be realizing some savings in
will.
the form of a credit.
guaranteed savings.
Right. And so we're going to venture into the waters knowing that if something happens that doesn't look right or smell right, then we're not on the hook for those 20
Very
years.
quick out,
Right,
30
right.
days.
Okay.
this is about as least risky, we hope, as being first in the state to do something gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And as I understand it, at this point, there is no other company that is.
yeah, no other plants we expect will be online in the ComEd region for another, again, year to 18 months.
And so all the energy that's created, all of that is then sold to municipalities or entities similar to us and then sold to ComEd. It's not that that production is divided into, this is what we sell to businesses or individuals. It's all created and then sold to ComEd, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So essentially, depends on which way you look at it. This is actually a relatively complex tool between, the electricity provider and
Exactly.
so on. But basically, ComEd is purchasing 100% of that plant's output. It's just who gets the credit on their bill.
Exactly. Okay, thank
Since-
you.
Since we're working with other communities to get the pricing in this contract, if we decide at, like, some point at 30 days that we wanted to get, we decided we wanted to break the contract, do we have to do that in agreement with the other communities, or can we step out
It's
on
a
our?
series of, individual agreements.
Okay,
So our agreement with MC Squared isn't contingent on anyone else's.
okay,
Presumably, they'd be able to expand their share if we left, so it's kind of in their interest for us to leave or vice versa.
okay, thanks.
This
Yeah.
fits into the village's larger sustainability goals of energy conservation,
Right, right.
alternative sources of energy. Yeah.
Well, lots of good things.
Any other comments, questions? All right, this is a roll
Thank you.
call.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Ankerman.
Aye.
Trustee Grenier.
Aye.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. We now have a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the village's Block 1 Tree Grate Project. And that's GRATE. Okay, so do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Ankerman and a
Second.
second. And second by Mr.
Mr.
Meyer.
Meyer.
On April 16, 2019, the village entered into a contract with Horvat Design Group of Lake Bluff to install 5 new tree grates on the north side of East Scranton Avenue in Block 1 of the village's central business district. The contract was in the amount of $18,976 and was approved by Village Administrator Drew Irvin under his authority. Project was done jointly with Village Public Works personnel performing some of the tasks and Horvat personnel performing others. 2 portions of the work being done by Horvat included pouring concrete supports for the new grates and replacing sections of bluestone that were temporarily removed when the tree grates were installed. Excuse me. During construction, additional work was required in relation to these 2 tasks. When the existing area was excavated, it was determined that the underlying soil did not have adequate strength to support the tree grates, and additional concrete and steel reinforcing bars were going to be required. A portion of the bluestones that were to be reset were in poor condition, and replacement stones were necessary. Horvat Design Group performed the additional work at a cost of $6,814. With the change order, the total contract amount is increased to $25,790, which necessitates village board approval, as the village administrator, as we all know, cannot approve over $20,000 at one time. The village capital plan includes $40,000 for this central business district improvement project. In addition to the contract with Horvat Design Group, the village purchased the tree grates for a cost of $13,785, bringing the total project cost to $39,575. Village engineer recommends the village board approve the change order to the construction contract with Horvat Design Group. Are there any questions, comments from the board?
Drew, in the initial agreement with the contractor here, were there any terms as to who was bearing the risk of the discovery in the project of unstable soil conditions or otherwise?
So the original contract was for a list of items that he was to perform. It included providing concrete supports at just the corners. When we dug it out, you don't know until you remove the existing trees and the existing soil. It just was too soft. So I would say, to answer your question, his contract had a specific list of items. This was not included, was to make the concrete, basically the continuous rectangle around all the tree grates. And that also, to dowel that into the existing sidewalk, there was rebars required throughout the whole rectangle, not just the corners, which was the plan.
Which
I
is
was
what
simply gonna
what I'm
respond
getting
to-
at is if they missed something versus us,
No.
such that they ought to bear the increase.
Yeah,
was beyond the scope.
It was underground, so we didn't know until it
Yeah.
was.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just a final comment, that's right, the businesses along the street were very cooperative and helpful with the village in completing this project, and have been very supportive and have loved the improvements, so.
That's good to hear. Okay, this is a roll call.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Engelmann.
Aye.
Trustee Grenier.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
All right, we now have opportunity for trustees to report. Is there anything the trustees would like to expound upon tonight? Okay. All righty, I have a motion here to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
So moved?
Just to be, I would say, just add that it would be pursuant to section 2C3 for appointment of official.
Okay? Section
Also-
ditto,
it
that's just
also deals with
goals.
performance evaluation.
Performance
Of an
evaluations.
employee.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
employees,
so then what
that's
I would
person-
recommend it would be pursuant to section 2C1 for personnel and 2C3 for the
Appointment.
discussion of appointment of an official.
So be it. Okay. that's
And
fine.
so moved.
Thank you very much. And a second,
Second.
please. Second by Mr. Gagnon. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's a roll call again, sorry.
Trustee Engelmann.
Aye.
Trustee Grenier.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
All right, we're now in executive session.